knows in some ways that he's got to deal with Henman's second serve, as Henman has occasionally been dealing with his own. It's a bit of a kicking serve. He's got to get near it to get on top of it.
As soon as I saw the ball, I called it.
So why didn't you call it? Why didn't you call it? You called it when the ball had hit the back fence.
No, I called it before.
What they're talking about here is the loose ball that came out of Henman's pocket.
I was watching the ball when it was. It will be for both sides. The ball was there, that's the fact. It's for both sides.
And umpire Moreno has asked for a let to be played, and I agree with Henman that the ball actually came out of his pocket after Edberg had played his shot. So no doubt in my mind that Edberg was not put off by it. But it's a judgment call. See the ball flipping out here, and Edberg's shot was on its way, and Edberg was totally unaware of that ball.
Henman still in crisis here. Point going 1-3 down. There you are. That's time to get in a good first serve. Not a bad sign that he can stand his ground and plead his case. Question of how you do it and how long you do it. This then is a sustained effort by Edberg to try and go a break up here.
Well, it all has to do with the comparative ineffectiveness of the Edberg slice today. Henman getting a good sort of off break on that, and it had a lot of bounce in it, and Edberg didn't read it well.
Fifth break point. So he's still gently ticking off the umpire. So he's a bit fired up here.
Yes, I'm not actually sure whether it's that or whether there might have been a reflection on the board that the umpire has above his head. Because having spoken to the umpire, I noticed the umpire moved it.
The point we're making here is he's no shrinking lily, this boy. He's his own young man, going about his job with a sharpness and an aggression under control. Two games all. He came through the fires there, did Henman, and he came through them with great courage.
Yes, there are two ways of looking at it. Edberg's had 7 break points in 2 Henman service games. It's of course both good resistance by Henman, and also Edberg pretty lousy at taking advantage.
Lovely.
Both of them incidentally using gut in their rackets. Edberg with a 17 gauge and Henman with a 16 gauge.
Fine return. His backhand return's the better wing, no question about that. Well, you can see what Henman intended to do there. He was just going to try a little chip, a little dig cross court. In fact, he mistimed it, and I think it took Edberg by so much surprise he made a dreadful hash of that. And having been 4 times a point from going 1-3 down, Henman here could go 3-2 up with his serve to follow.
Well, these are pretty huge points. They would be under any circumstances, but given the fact that Edberg's had so many chances, it particularly hurt him. That racket of his has got about 10 more square inches than Edberg's. Edberg's been using this for a long, long time, about 85 square inches.
Just long. Another chance. So the match is on a knife edge. Henman is set up. After Edberg had served for the set, Henman won the tie-break. Henman has been umpteen break points down, and here he has another chance to break Edberg's serve. Anyone can win this.
Well, this is Edberg's best volley for some time. There was a crispness about this. It's more like the old Edberg volley.
Three-two Edberg leads in the second set. They both had so many chances, just one each have had achieved a break-off 9 chance. I think it's difficult for the crowd. It's a packed crowd, or very nearly packed crowd, and it's difficult for them to quite know who to side with. I think they like the young Brit. They've read a lot about him. They're seeing him for themselves. They saw him at Wimbledon, of course, but they're able to make their own judgments on him as a player, him as a person. But of course, they've come to respect Edberg enormously. All around the world, that's been so. And so there's not the sort of partisan crowd involvement, the sort of rowdy partisan crowd involvement you can get here. It might come later in the match.
Yes, I think what we really need is a consistent spell of good play by a player. Both have played well, but they've sort of come and gone. They haven't been able to hold it, and I think it's almost perhaps a respect for each other. But there's no doubt, well, at least if the crowd isn't, I'll certainly tell them they ought to be lapping it up, because they're elegant stroke makers, these. How often would you see Edberg displaced in points won at the net?
Now, where's that missing first serve?
11-15.
I didn't think Henman served all that well against Todd Martin. Just felt Martin too couldn't take advantage of the second serves. Now whether there's a spin in them that makes it difficult to read, difficult to get on top of.
It's working, that tactic of Edberg's, just to chip and then come in behind and say, go and pass me. It's taking away from Henman that fraction, that moment of time when he can just compose himself and go for the pass. Like a lot of shots that perhaps exactly aren't yet super fine technically, which is true of Henman's forehand. He's often better when he hasn't got time to think about it. Has to play the shot by instinct. 2-3, 30 all.
14-13.
Well, that's better. He's hit 2 good first serves in. That'll make him feel better. And it gives him 3 all, second set.
Well, that's an oft-used Edberg tactic, to serve that one into the body, not coming through with much pace at all. There it is again, but you've got to use your feet, of course, to make room for the swing. Well, Edberg seemed to hesitate just for a while, as if he thought perhaps the serve would be called out, but once he decided it was in, he was right on top of the net, camping there. Really sometimes just gives the opponent the lob, should they choose to take that option, but assumes therefore that they are not.
That's the second time that Henman's tried a little dinked return, and he didn't time that one right either, except this time Edberg was ready for it.